I want to make bike maintenance as simple as possible so I can spend more time out on the trails and less time in the garage. In this video, I'll show you my plan to take care of my bike for as little time and effort as possible. Like many of you, I love going out and riding my bike, but in terms of maintaining my bike, I've got an extremely passive and reactive style of maintenance. So picture this, I'm going out to ride my bike and I notice a bit of a clicking coming from the bottom bracket. I then think I should probably check that out when I get home and get on with the rest of my ride. I really enjoy my ride, come home, put the bike away, have something to eat, and by that point I've completely forgotten about the bottom bracket. Then I go out on the next ride and the clicking's a little bit worse, and then think, I should probably do something about that, and the cycle repeats. Until it gets to the point like I had earlier in the week. I went out to the bike to find it was pretty much unrideable. There was just so many things wrong with it. I haven't got enough time to fix all these issues and get back in my lunch break. And so because of that, I missed out on a bike ride. And so it's really got me thinking about the ways that I can simplify and improve my maintenance strategy so that I'm maintaining my bike in a more active and proactive manner as opposed to being completely reactive. And so I think issue number one to address is the fact that I'm trying to do all of this in my head. So what I've done is to make and then order this. So I've been really excited about this. It's something I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. And it's my first time seeing it as well. So this is my bike maintenance tracker poster. The whole point of my tracker poster is to have a visual way of understanding what needs to be done on the bike, what I need to be looking out for, and then I can tick items off as I go and record when I did them, which is super satisfying, meaning I'm much more likely to actually do them. And because it looks so visually appealing, there's a higher probability that I'll look at it on a regular basis, as opposed to just writing it down on a whiteboard or notepad. So now I've got a way of visually recording the maintenance that I'm doing on my bike. I'm now going to run through the strategy that I'm going to follow to simplify my maintenance and therefore make it more achievable. Maintenance really is just the preservation of a condition or function of an object. I think we can just boil that down to three simple levels. So level one is cleaning and basic bike care. Now the purpose of this is to remove dirt, sand and salt from the bike, to stop it wearing away at the moving parts and to prevent corrosion. But I'm making it really simple by picking one of two different washing options. So wash A is a very basic wash. It's just putting some detergent on the bike, maybe quickly agitating it with a brush or a sponge, and then rinsing it down, drying it, and then applying any lubricant to it. I can generally do that on a mountain bike in less than 10 minutes if I've got all the equipment available to me. And then we've also got Wash B, which is a more in-depth deep clean. So I'll get the wheels off the bike, get the brushes out and really get into all the different areas, all the nooks and crannies, and try and remove as much dirt and debris and salt from the bike as possible. And in terms of how often I have to do these types of washes, well, I think that really depends on the season that I'm riding in. So in the summer, when I'm riding in dry and dusty conditions, I'll generally only do Wash A maybe once every 10 rides, or maybe once a month. Then moving into the wetter seasons, I'll generally have to do Wash A after every single ride. And then really adding in Wash B when I think that Wash A hasn't been enough. So in the winter, that might be every 2 weeks, it might be once a month. But I think boiling this down into Wash A and Wash B is quite good, because what it means is that I can start to plan out to give a little bit more time after each ride to be able to do Wash A, and when I need to do that more in-depth wash, to really allocate time in the day to be able to do that. And hopefully that makes it simpler and therefore more achievable to do. Level 2 is inspection. So the purpose of this is to try and find the items that are wearing out or potentially close to failure before they've actually failed, which is very likely to happen when you're out and about as far away from home as possible, leaving you stranded. And when I've done this in the past, it's maybe been a little bit lapsadaisy and there's been no actual structure to it. I'm running through a very basic checklist in my head. I'm really happy that I've got the wall planner now, because it gives me a structure to be able to go around the bike and check each individual component, and specifically to know what to look out for and then tick off that item as I go. So as an example here, I was inspecting around the bike and I found that my front wheel bearing was starting to knock. And normally I would have only noticed this when things started to get quite bad, which would have really not been ideal, because a lot of times when you run the wheel bearings that loose for that long, they start to cause damage to the outer race, and eventually you'll have to replace the entire hub, or in this case it would probably just be worth replacing the entire front wheel. So once I've identified the problems in level 2, that then takes me to level 3, which is protecting and servicing the bike and its components. Now in this particular case, as I said about the wheel bearing, I could feel that they were wrong, so what I did was I quickly took the wheel off, and then I gave the front wheel bearing a service, and then tightened it all up properly so it was ready to ride again. As part of that maintenance session, I got the bottom bracket replaced. I also identified that the rear tyre was starting to get a little bit low on tread, and so I knew that was going to be an item that I'm going to have to replace very soon. Now, because I'm identifying the parts that are starting to wear out and fail ahead of time, it gives me more time to be able to order the parts. It means that I'm able to look out for good deals and then save a little bit of money on top. And because I've got a box to be able to record when and the mileage that I did that maintenance, I can start to build a picture around how long the components will last, and therefore I can be even more proactive in future about ordering parts ahead of time so that they're there in stock, ready for me to replace it when things are starting to get too worn out. And if you get really good at it, that you can pile all the maintenance together and get it all done in one big overhaul before anything starts to become a problem. And this is even more important if you use your bike on a regular basis, like if you commute on your bike or use it for doing bike courier activities. Of course, you want your downtime to be as low as humanly possible. Time that the bike isn't working is time that you're not earning money. And I think by boiling things down into these 3 simple steps, having a way that I can record it in a nice visually appealing and satisfying way, hopefully in the long run will mean that I get more time out of my bike, less time in the garage, and potentially even save a little bit of money along the way. Now, if you're interested in printing one of these off for yourself, you can get them on my website, djfxc.com. And for a limited time, there's a launch offer as well. So if you put in the code DJF25, you'll get 25% off these.